Hey guys, Kerry Werner checking in after Sea Otter Classic, which was also the first round of the Lifetime Grand Prix series. I just thought it'd be cool to walk you through my race. So Sea Otter Classic is a big vendor expo. Basically all the brands are there, including me with bike flights. So we showed up on Monday, set up on Tuesday. I got out on course with Russell and Alexi on Wednesday, and then I was working the expo all day Thursday and Friday. Not an excuse, just walking you through the week. So yeah, just like talking about bike flights to people walking around, handing out swag, doing all that. The race kicked off first thing on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and it was a stacked field. Not that this is any surprise, the Lifetime Series is an application entry process, so whoever vetted the applications for the entries, like, you had to be bringing some firepower to make it into this series. That or just have a huge Instagram following or whatever. Not real sure what the criteria exactly was. First round, the course itself was a roughly 34-mile loop on really fast, kind of single track dirt road. There wasn't a lot of technical sections out there. There was a couple rocks here and there, but for the most part it was really fast and kind of loose over hard pack on all the single track. And then there was a bunch of fire road sections. So when we did the pre-ride lap on Wednesday, it was like a 2.5-hour lap. For race time, that was roughly cut in half. So it was cooking the pace. And right off the line, that was the case. My power meter kind of quit out on me, so I don't have data to reference for you guys. But Russell Finsterwald posted on Instagram a couple of data points. That first 2 minutes off the start was 2 minutes at 600 watts. Probably a little less for me since I got swarmed there in that corner. But yeah, that was the name of the game, having a good start and kind of settling into position. I basically settled in right in that like 15th spot or so, and then kind of tried to do my best to work up early. And I knew once we crested that first major climb, it was gonna be, basically the groups were kind of set on that gravel road until the rest of the course kind of dictated where groups were gonna come together and apart. I found myself in a good group of like 5 or 6 guys by about halfway through. It was myself, Kyle Trudeau, Lachlan Morton, Alex Howells, and Lance Haydet. We ended up catching up to Braden Lang as well, and then he rolled through the start finish with us. We were kind of cruising there from about halfway through the lap until, I mean, all the way through the start finish starting lap 2. Like I said, the pace was hot. We could see the chase group kind of up the road, just like maybe a minute up. I think it was 30 seconds at that halfway aid. By the time we came across the line heading into the second lap, it was roughly a minute. As we entered that second lap, we grabbed a bottle there right on the raceway and then kind of got ready for those first punchy climbs again. And right there is where our group split up, right on that first bit of single track. So it was Braden, Kyle Trudeau, and myself kind of going over the top of that first climb together. We could smell blood in the water as guys were kind of starting to fade back, the first of which was Tobin. We ended up catching him right there after the gravel on the first bit of single track, and then it was Kyle, Tobin, Braden, and I on that first bit, and that's kind of where we lost contact with the rest of the dudes. By the time we came through the feed zone for the second time, the halfway feed, it was just the 3 of us. We got onto the gravel road and kind of started trading pulls. Eventually we ended up shedding Kyle from the group, and then it was Braden, Tobin, and me. And this was in the race for 13th place. As we got through the lap and into that kind of last like 45 minutes of the lap, we started catching a couple guys that had started coming backwards from that chase group. This Canyon Rider, and then Ryan Standish came backwards. Thing about these races are, like, you gotta be on it and like really try not to blow up, because if you can finish hard, you can usually get a couple spots in the end of the race. I was really nervous about this because coming into that last bit of the race, I was starting to feel little twinges of cramping, and I still had that massive finish climb to go. I got popped from this group with Tobin, Braden, and another guy that we ended up catching, and so I basically had a 30-minute time trial, 25-minute time trial from that point to the end, where I was constantly looking back. I knew Ryan was back there. Taylor Ladine was chasing really hard. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of this. I was in a fight for my life, it felt like, out there. The last thing I was thinking about in those final 30 minutes of the race was hitting my record button. Plus I was alone, so there wouldn't have been much to see, but honestly, the excuse for me was just lack of energy and focus. I was just gripped and just, man, I just wanted to get to the finish. So I ended up holding chasers off. Taylor Ladine caught up to me just as we entered the raceway, but I had a big enough gap on him that I was able to come across the line in 13th, which I was happy about. Good start to the season. And once you take the non-lifetime series racers out, I slot in at 10th in the series. So, you know, good stepping stone heading into the rest of the season. By no means am I content with that. 6 more races in the series all the way through October. So a lot of time for a lot of different stuff to happen. Unbound is the next one, about a month and a half, right, that first weekend of June. And as everybody knows, that is a flat fest and it's 200 miles. It's a 9.5-hour race. So yeah, all those guys that maybe were at the back of the pack struggling with the technical sections on the single track, or you know, aren't as good technically, are gonna bring all of that hunger and motivation to Unbound. So it's gonna be, you know, even more competitive. So that was my race. Thanks for watching the race recap. Leave any questions or comments below, and I'll see you guys at the next one, which will be Lifetime Grand Prix Round 2, Unbound Gravel.